The NFL offseason is in full swing for the Washington Commanders, and today I'm going to be breaking down pretty much the entire roster here for the Washington Commanders and what positions are going to be needs for this team in 2024. It's going to be a longer video because we've got a lot of needs, so let's get into it. But first, make sure you guys click that thumbs up icon if you are excited for free agency like I am. The Commanders have the most cap space in the National Football League heading into this year's free agency period. And if I know Adam Peters, I know he's about to go on a spending spree. So let's start with one of the obvious ones here, at least to me, which is that you got to go get a quarterback. All right, and this is going to be a quarterback at number 2 overall in the NFL draft. Not a free agent, not a trade for anybody, not Sam Howell. All right, you're going to get either Drake May or Jaden Daniels at number 2, or maybe trade up to number 1 for Caleb Williams if there's a deal to be made. Now, the reason why I say it's not going to be Sam Howell is because he didn't do enough in his rookie season, or in his first year starting, I should say, to really warrant a second year as the starter of this team. Completion percentage was okay at 63%, over 230 yards per game passing, but given how much he was throwing the football, I'm not sure if that's a great figure. 21 touchdowns is pretty nice, but then you get the 21 interceptions, which led the NFL. He was really putting the ball in harm's way. He showed an ability to not be afraid to throw the ball down the field and into tight spaces, but unfortunately for him, it led to a lot of interceptions and a lot of mistakes, which is why the Commanders have the opportunity that they have right now, where they currently have the number 2 overall pick in the 2024 NFL draft. And plain and simply, guys, when you're in that kind of situation, when you're in a position where you're picking number 2 in a draft with 3 really, really good quarterback prospects, and Caleb Williams, Drake May, and Jaden Daniels, you got to take a quarterback, all right? Plain and simply. Getting a young quarterback, a blue-chip type quarterback on a rookie deal really opens up the opportunities for you over the next 5 seasons of contract control with that quarterback. And as much as I like Sam as a potential backup, a good backup in this league with good chemistry with the receivers already on this team, I think they should keep him, all right? I don't think they should trade him unless it's for like a day 2 pick. But the opportunities to draft types of guys like Drake Mays and Jaden Daniels or Caleb Williams, they just don't come around very often. And when they're there, especially when you're just starting a rebuild with a new head coach and a new GM who is going to want their quarterback, I just think it makes the most sense to draft the quarterback at number 2 instead of signing a quarterback or trading for one or whatever the case may be, or sticking with Sam. You got to take the quarterback here, and I do think it'll be either Drake May out of North Carolina or Jaden Daniels, the Heisman winner, out of LSU. We have a video on the channel breaking down the full scouting reports of both of these guys, the pros, the cons, and the pro comps, and I let you know which one I would rather have the Commanders take. Personally, I trust Adam Peters and Dan Quinn to make the right decision, but let me know what you guys think down there in the comment section. Do you trust Washington to take the right quarterback at number 2 overall? Give me a yes or give me a no. This is going to be the pinned comment on today's show, so YouTube's going to throw you an ad break here in just a couple of seconds. When that happens, give me a yes or no to answer today's pinned question. Then we get to the next need here, and this is a huge one because you traded both of your starters away last trade deadline. Chase Young, Montez Sweat were your 2 starting edge rushers. You traded both of them away, which means you have to replenish that position this year. So you need 2 starting edge rushers. So because you need 2 of them, I would expect at least one of those starters to be picked up in free agency. Now, whether that's Josh Allen or Brian Burns or Daniil Hunter or someone else, I don't know, okay? But I know that the Commanders are definitely going to be hunting one of the top names in free agency this year, and they're going to throw a lot of money at that guy to be the number 1 edge rusher of this team moving forward. And they might even go out and get 2 edge rushers in free agency. Now we go into offensive line here, where you need center, you need guard, and you need tackle. All right, so you need everything along the offensive line. Charles Leno Jr., he's fine, but he's definitely not high end. Same thing with Andrew Wiley. Both of them had their struggles last year. Offensive guard, I like Sam Cosmi, But good Lord, you need a starting left guard, and then you also need a center. So you need to really beef up that offensive line, and that needs to be really the number one objective of the Washington Commanders this offseason, other than getting the quarterback right. I really do believe you have to get these things right. You have to beef up the trenches, and you have to get the quarterback right. That's how you build teams in the National Football League, and I'd expect these units to look a lot different heading into 2024. Now, coming up here, I got more team needs. Of course, we've got a lot more to go here, so make sure you guys stick around. But first, I want to tell you about our sponsor today at Prize Picks. And football season may be over. I know, I'm sad about it too, but the action on the floor is just heating up in both college and professional basketball. Whether it's tournament season or the fight for playoff home court, there's no shortage of high-stakes basketball moments at this time of the year. So get in on the excitement with Prize Picks, America's #1 fantasy sports app in the United States, where you can turn your hoops knowledge into serious cash. With quick withdrawals, easy game to play, and an enormous selection of players and stat types are what makes Prize Picks the #1 daily fantasy sports app in the U.S. So you might be asking yourselves, how does this work? Well, here's how you play. Pick 2 to 6 players, and if they'll go for more or less than their Prize Picks projection, you can even win up to 25 times your money on any entry. And you can even put entries in, guys, on the NFL Combine and the numbers that these guys put up during the workouts. We got the 40 times right here for wide receivers Troy Franklin, Adonai Mitchell, and Xavier Worthy. And I'm going to take the less on Franklin and Mitchell, and I'll take the more on Worthy for their 40 times. You can go do it right now and get your picks in with Prize Picks. And guys, it only takes less than 60 seconds. So it's super quick, it's super fun, and it's super addictive. Download the app today and use code CLNS for a first deposit match up to $100 today. Again, download the app and use code CLNS for a first deposit match up to $100. Pick more, pick less. It's that easy with our friends at Prize Picks. Then, of course, another need for the Commanders this offseason is going to be getting another outside corner, because you got Emmanuel Forbes, who you drafted in the first round last year. You know, you're going to give him another shot here in Dan Quinn's system. You have Jartavian Martin here, Quan Martin in the slot. You need to go out and get another outside corner, because I don't think Benjamin St-Juste is going to be the type of guy that can start for you again in 2024. So for me, the big question at this position is, will they re-sign or franchise tag Kendall Fuller, or are they going to address the need in free agency, or are they going to go to the draft, right? So I really do think it's going to start with that crucial crux decision of Kendall Fuller. And honestly, guys, if I'm predicting it right now, I think they're going to let him walk. I think that he's not the best fit in Dan Quinn's super aggressive, man-heavy scheme. And because of that, they're not going to want to pay him the amount of money that he's going to be worth on the open market, given how good he was in the Fangio-style system that Jack Del Rio ran here over the last several seasons. He's a good corner, really good corner. I'm just not sure if he's a great fit, and because of that, I think he's going to be moving on. Then we get to strong safety, and unlike corner here, where I think the Commanders are going to have to get another starter outside of Kendall Fuller, I actually think Cam Curl is going to be back. And of course, that's the big question here, is whether or not they're going to re-sign or franchise tag Cam Curl, or try to address it elsewhere, whether that be free agency or the draft. But like I said, guys, I think Curl is going to get franchise tagged. I think that that's the right move. I think, unlike Fuller, Curl is a perfect fit in this system that Dan Quinn and Joe Witt Jr. are going to be bringing in. I think he's going to be playing kind of that Cam Chancellor role, that true box safety, and that's what he does best, man. That's what he's really, really good at. He's a tight end eraser. He's really good in coverage, in my opinion, and overall, he's a super valuable piece to this defense that I don't think you want to see go. And because of that, I think he's going to get franchise tagged. But let me know what you guys think about these two pieces in the secondary. Should the Commanders bring them back? Should they just bring back Kendall Fuller? Give me an F. Should they just bring back Cameron Curl? Give me a C. Or should they bring back both? Type B for me down there in the comments section if you think they should bring back both. Then we get to inside linebacker for the Commanders, and this one's pretty obvious if you ask me, right? You got Jamin Davis, who's fine, but everybody else in the room is becoming a free agent. So you really have to stock up an inside linebacker talent. I would expect probably an inside or a free agent to sign. And I think they're also going to be hunting for young guns in the draft as well. Then we get to wide receiver, and you might be saying, Jack, we got Scary Terry and Jahan Dotson here, and you'd be right about that, but Cliff Kingsbury, the new OC, likes to have 4 wide receiver sets, likes to have a lot of receivers on the field, spread guys out, and right now with Curtis Samuel leaving in free agency, that is definitely up in the question as to who the number 3 and number 4 receivers are going to be for the Washington Commanders. Now, they could absolutely re-sign Curtis Samuel in free agency depending on the price or what his price tag is going to be. But I think that at the end of the day, guys, he's a really good receiver, and he's a guy you can use a lot of different ways. He's really good on jet sweeps. He's really good in the slot. He really showed that last year. He was a bright spot for this Commanders offense last year, working in the slot. And because of that, I think that he's going to be just affordable enough for the Commanders to say, you know what, he's a valuable piece to this offense. Let's bring him back and let's re-sign him. And then the final team need here is that the Commanders need to go out and get a kicker. Joey Sly was just not it last year. Tress Way is still a great punter. He's locked up for the future. But, you need to get a new kicker, whether that be through the draft with a young guy, whether that be undrafted free agent, whether that be free agency with like a Kaimi Fairbairn or something like that. I don't know what the answer is going to be at the kicker position, but I know they need to address it. Now, what say you guys? Let me know down there in the comments section. What is Washington's biggest need this offseason? Is it offensive line? Is it edge rusher? Is it quarterback? Is it something else? Let me know what you guys think down there in the comments section for what you think is the biggest team need that the Commanders need to address. That'll be it for today's show, guys. Thank you so much for all of your support. Make sure you guys click that subscribe button because we're going to be here covering every single move the Commanders make to address all the needs that we talked about today. Every time they sign a player in free agency, every time they trade for somebody, every time they draft somebody during the draft, we're going to have you guys covered with a breaking news video. So if you want extensive coverage of the 2024 offseason for your Washington Commanders, click that subscribe button for me right now.